Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, I'm Najwa Safanur Fahimah and my last student ID number is 135. So in this video, I'm going to present my book review. Imagine you walking into a classroom today. You sit down, look around, and without even realizing it, you're already playing a role. The way you sit, the way you talk, the way you react to the person next to you. None of that is random. All of it is habit. And the question is, are these habits helping you? Or are they actually holding you back? That's exactly what this book is about. Breaking Bad Habits of Race and Gender by Sarah Mary Sedlin, a professor of education at the University of New Hampshire. It's written for teachers, future teachers, and anyone who cares about fairness in the classroom. Her main goal is to show how schools can break the cycle of bad habits around race and gender instead of quietly passing them on. She combines two big ideas in philosophy: John Dewey's pragmatism and Judith Butler's post-structuralism, and brings them straight into real classroom situations. This is not a dry theory book. This book lives in reality. After reading it, there are things I genuinely admire and things I think are worth questioning. Starting with the strengths, first, the theory is always grounded in real stories. A lot of philosophy books feel disconnected from actual classroom, but Stedlin opens almost every chapter with something that actually happened. She talks about the girl named Annette, a black student who stood her ground against a bullying boy on the playground. That's not a made up example. And she builds her whole argument from moments like that. It makes the book feel alive, not just academic. Second, the idea of flexible habits is genuinely fresh. We usually think of habits as rigid, hard to break. Stedlin believes that she argues that habits can and should be flexible, that we can learn to move through the world in more open, more conscious, more freeing ways. That shift the mindset from nothing can change to change can start right here. Third, it actually gives teachers something to do. The last chapters offers concrete suggestions you can bring into a real classroom, helping students examine their own habits, running reflective discussion, showing them how their identities were shaped by culture, not by nature. And now the weaknesses. First, the language is really heavy. Words like transactional constitution of body minds, discursive performativity, iterability of normative citations, and corporeal resignification come up constantly without much plain language explanation. If you don't have if you don't have a background in philosophy, parts of this book will feel like reading in a foreign language. And that's a problem because the teachers who need this book most are the ones least likely to push through it. Second, it's very America centered. Almost every example comes from American school, and the racial conflicts discussed are very specific to the black-white experience in the United States. Readers outside that context have to do a lot of extra work to adapt it to their own reality. Third, students barely get a voice. The book does include stories about students. We hear about Annette, who stood up to a bully, and Renee, who questions her own racial identity, but these stories are always told through the eyes of researchers and teachers who observe them. The students themselves never get to speak directly. We know what happened to them, but we never really heard how they felt about it. And that's a missed opportunity because hearing it straight from them would have made this book so much more honest and complete. Now, I want to ask you something directly. You want to be a teacher, right? Or at least you care about education? So, let me ask you one question you might not have asked yourself before. Is the classroom you walk into every day truly fair for everyone in it? Not fair in the sense of equal grades, but fair in the sense that every single student has space to be themselves without being limited by expectation about their race, their gender, or where they come from. This book gives you two things that are incredibly valuable as a future teacher. First, it explains why race and gender problems keep showing up in classroom. Not because students are bad, not because teachers don't care, but because of deeply rooted habits that get passed down without anyone noticing. And you cannot fix something you don't understand. Second, it doesn't stop at the problem. It gives you hope and direction. Sidlin believes that school is the best place to start real change. Not the government, not social media, but the classroom, where teachers and students can build new habits together, freer ones, more humans ones. A teacher doesn't need to have all the answers when identity conflicts show up in the classroom, but a teacher does need the courage not to look away when they do. And this book helps you keep your eyes open with more clarity, more depth, and more responsibility. So, should you read it? Yes, especially if you want to be more than just become who teaches a subject. I will leave you with the core idea of this book. When students learn to inhabit their races and genders more flexibly, current social structures of identity based oppressions can be alleviated. In other words, a more just world can start being built from inside the classroom. Thank you very much for your watching and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.